Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and here is my tier list for the best Double or Nothing matches over here in this AEW Premium Live event that was yesterday. Overall, just feeling is that they are really, really long. This is the first one I've ever think I've watched from start to finish without like having like I remember like a couple of the times catching the tail end of stuff. I realized finally how to watch it. Somebody in the community told me how to, so I was able to watch the whole thing, and I immediately watched this entire thing, and then didn't see all the pre-show matches because I saw the acclaimed, and I was like, oh okay, that's one pre-show match, but apparently there was two, and I just had to watch it right before I recorded this, so I saw Thunder Rosa versus Diana Palazzo. God, why? I don't know why. Just my voice and everything is off today, so I apologize for that in advance. But let's just start off with that match. Thunder Rosa and Diana Palazzo had a pretty decent go back and forth between the two. They have a little bit of stakes between like if you watch like the week to week programming. I feel like it was just kind of a throwaway match to a certain extent to put it on the PLE because like they've been building something. They could have maybe let it cook a little bit longer. Kind of a quick ending. It felt very like just didn't need to be on the card. But overall, I thought the match was C. Wasn't the worst thing that I've ever seen. Thunder Rosa definitely showed up. I like Thunder Rosa a lot, so I was happy to see her on it. I just wish she was actually like on the card with like how many like what 12, 15 matches it feels like sometimes with these that it kind of sucks that they were off. Next up, we have the six-man tag team or three-man trios. I guess it's the best way of saying it because like that's kind of how AEW does it, which is the Acclaim versus the Cage of Agony or Cages of Agony. I can't remember. I think it's just Cage. I love the Acclaim a lot. I think they're my favorite trios other than like the House of Black. Like it's such a difference, and I'm glad that they won because hopefully that gives them a chance for the championships because they have three trios champions. That I don't know. That's the thing with AEW. I love championship belts. I'm a big fan of them, but they have so many that and like from different organizations and different stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot to think about sometimes when you think of when you see somebody come out with three belts that are all the three same titles, like that you see later on with what is it? Yeah, the Bang Bang Gang, which I'm like, it's cool. I like it a lot, but it's just like, why? Why do you have so many titles? But go back to the match. I thought the Acclaimed and the Cages of Agony did pretty good. I'll put it in B. I thought the match itself didn't have anything too crazy. They had the mascot come out there and help them. Like so, it was a nice little spot, kind of a good pump up crowd things. These were both the pre-show buy-in matches, so they didn't really have much stakes because like even then they were like, well, the claim should be first contenders, but that wasn't like the actual stakes of the match. So overall, it was still a good match. I just wish there was a little bit more. Next up, we had the Will Ospreay match. I'm trying to do these in order. Some of them are going to be out of order because it's been a little bit of time since seeing them because it was a lot last night. I'll be honest, that was quite a bit to have all those matches back to back to back to back. Um, Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is a phenomenal wrestler. I feel like everybody believes he's the best wrestler of all time, greatest one. I think he's really, really good. I really do, but I don't think he's the best of all time. Um, so and that being said, and like having the match all together, I thought it was really good. I really expected him to turn or to do that move. I thought it was like he didn't attack Roderick because Roderick was like hurt, but then like immediately just destroys him afterwards. So I don't really understand that spot as much. But overall, I give it a B. I think the match itself was just had a lot of good spots. Actually, I actually would slide it up a little bit higher. I do remember a lot more spots. I think Osprey did really good. Roderick really did it, and the title switched over, so that was pretty cool. I think like they need to load up Will Ospreay with a lot of their stuff. Like this is their number one signing, and like he's in the lower mid or like mid card. I don't really understand it to be honest. I feel like he should be like going after bigger fish, but I'm not the booker here. So next up we have Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta, which I think is actually later on in the match, but it's fine. It was just like best friends or like the team of the best friends breaking up and stuff. I think overall the match was just subpar to me. I know Orange Cassidy has like that lackadaisia thing, but he puts on a good show. But overall, I just wasn't very invested in it. They didn't really tell a story in the ring, and a lot of their spots were good. Like when you put in see here, it's like it's not bad, but I'm looking for the whole package. I'm looking like if I just watch this, like been like man, that's cool. Like, especially because this is supposed to be like the end of their rivalry, not like the beginning of it, and it just felt like okay. I didn't care too much. I mean, I thought I was invested in the story, but it just felt like it didn't get me to completion and stuff. So, out of context, that sounded terrible. But yeah, this was for the next one was the Bang Bang Gang versus Death Triangle for the Unified World Trios title, which is like three different titles I think altogether. And yeah, I didn't think we really thought much was going to happen here. Like Death Triangle is coming just back together, so I don't really think they were going to pull the titles off. They had some amazing spots. Like these are absolutely crazy ass guys, like El Penta and Phoenix and Pac do great stuff in the ring. I think also the Guns and Jay White did pretty good. We got a returning Juice Robinson to cost them or like get them the match. So I thought it was a really solid match. I'm trying to think. I probably put it in A. I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought, uh, I mean, Penta, the stuff he does is crazy, and like, so it's like hard to not want to put it up there because do remember and do like when I think about back at Double of Nothing, that's one of the matches I think about. So I'll put it in A. Next up, we got Timeless Tony Storm versus Serena Deeb. I was not invested in this match even before leading up to it. Serena Deeb just kind of seemed out of nowhere. I feel like it's pretty bad when you have the women's title down here and then the women's mid card title as the main event. Like they obviously built up a different story, and like you're allowed to have that, but it's night and day when you have both of these on the same card. And Tony Storm did good. I thought the match was pretty decent. Um, I think overall it just wasn't my cup of tea. I put it in C. I feel like Tony Storm's had way better matches on her title defense, and I know you're gonna have some duds here and there, and I think that's her dud. I definitely don't think it should be at the bottom, but definitely not at the top. So C works pretty well. Next up, we have the FTW champion chip match, the triple threat. A lot of spots there. The dice spot was chef's kiss. I want to see D4s next time though. So if you know if you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, a D4 is just like a triangle, like a pyramid. So that would be a lot more brutal. I don't think you could actually do it. I mean, I've stepped on a metal D4 before. It is not fun. So I can't imagine even those being that well. I think overall the match definitely lacked a little bit. Obviously, like I think it's weird. So like I feel like Jericho looked the worst in that match, but I feel like it was on purpose. Like I feel like he was purposely not exerting himself, purposely not doing that to fit the story of like being the teacher and the learning tree, all that stuff. Which I guess in a way still feels really like interesting that you can do that. Obviously Jericho's a little older, so like he probably would take that, take a little extra relaxation. I think Hook and Shibata just like were there, like they had some really good spots, but it didn't feel like it was ever really in doubt that Jericho was going to retain. Sadly, so and then obviously we had the interference by Big Bill and God, who else came down? There was somebody else that came down. It was in the mask. Oh, the guy that that had gotten into the match. I completely forgot. I don't know that guy's name off the top of my head. I'm like I watch AEW as much as I can, but like unless it's like a former WWE person or a person that I see on a regular basis, I can sometimes forget the name. Next up, we got John Moxley versus Teshka. Overall, I thought it was a great match. I thought like this was one of the best. Obviously Moxley, did what he did. Like he's like that has that badass swagger to him, and obviously it was brutal, like just brutal match. Why was brutal? I think if it was going to brutality, but God, yeah. So I feel like overall it was probably one of the best matches. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I don't know if it was necessarily S for me. I'm not really big into just like it always just being like a slamming session. Like I like to have a mix of like everything, And so I would just probably put that just a hair done out of S because of that. Next up, we have the TNT champion barbed wire steel cage match. Um, this was the one I was most excited for. I thought it was going to disappoint me, but I actually honestly thought it was really good. We had some really good spots inside of the ring. Malachi Black kicking him out was pretty cool, with maybe the House of Black turning on Malachi. I thought that was a kind of a cool thing. Like, I was like, well, I mean, this could be an interesting story, but then they didn't. And then we had Gangrel save Edge coming out of the ring. Yeah, I think overall, I don't know if this would be the most technical match, but a lot of the spots were just brutal. I'm not a big fan of blood wrestling. Like, I don't mind like if somebody gets busted open on the head or something like that, because that's just okay. That's what happened. You're like, why am I gonna get mad at somebody for doing this or that it's happening? But me personally, I think it was the best match. I don't know if that's necessarily just nostalgia because I like the two guys inside and I just like overall, but I like the storytelling they did. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I think it was like the best match to me. I definitely don't think it was like the best physical wrestling match, but if you think about story, um, entrances, everything from start to finish, the ending, all of it, I think fit that perfectly. I think it was good because it was just like Edge had it up against the wall and having a random Gangrel come with the whole Brood entrance was just perfect. I mean, there was no other perfect person to come down to help him other than Christian, which would made no sense because it's completely different in AEW. So, yeah, I think it's S. And now we'll get to the three main events. Now, these were very long matches and very interesting because they were all kind of almost different dynamics. So we'll start off with the Willie Nightingale and Mercedes Money match. I feel bad for Willow on this one because it just felt like she was going to have decks stacked against her, and obviously it was. I mean, it's Mercedes Money. What do you expect here? Mercedes Money obviously wins. I think overall the match was pretty solid. It had shades of how their old match went, so they kind of did some of the same spots to show that how they've grown and done different. Thought that was kind of decent altogether. I think it was A. I just think it was a pretty decent match. I enjoyed watching it. It had me in there. I would the heel turn at the end. If you add that to that match, that would also be pretty good because we have a couple things here. Like so, the big thing, like in the Will Ospreay match, that would automatically put it in the A tier is if you count the MGF coming, return after that. I don't know if you count that as a match, but MGF returning would definitely be an S tier here. Also, I don't, just like it's like when you add those extra things to the match, like if you add the heel turn of Chris Statlander after that, that could possibly make it an S tier. I don't even know if it's really a heel turn or just like I'm tired of being your lackey, not even lackey, but just like side person, which I think will be good because they'll put him in a rivalry and give Mercedes a chance to do her own thing. Again, I don't know why they went with the TBS championship for Mercedes. I feel like the TBS division, like if we're the women that go around that championship, is way more fun and exciting in AEW than the women's championship. I might be the only person that feels that way, but that's I just like I was looking forward to this match. I was not looking forward to this match. I like Tony Storm a lot, and I just did not care. And like even some of my favorite women on the roster, it's like, well, I mean, if you're gonna hover around this title, it feels like you're gonna have a lot better shot. I mean, even like Julia Hart having it before that, and then Jade Cargill and Chris Statlander, like all the champions you think about it are all really awesome wrestlers. And nothing against Tony Storm, but it's just like she's not facing anybody that's so crazy. Like she's fought, Marissa May. She fight Marissa May. I think she lost the number one contendership, so maybe not. But she fought, she got the title from Sheeta, which was great. But then like they kind of just dropped it and Sheeta disappeared, which I was just unfortunately sad about. But it seems like a problem. But I guess that's a whole nother video, and I'm going off into a tangent. But yeah, let's go to the WWE, not WWE, Jesus. Now, you see, this is why I don't like to go off on tangents, because my brain just breaks. The AEW World Championship, I thought it was a pretty great showing for Swerve Strickland. He's my favorite wrestler in AEW. I think he did a really good job here. Christian Cage, obviously, being that despicable heel dad, it works so well. Overall, I'll put it as an A. I kind of didn't like the ending as much, just having like all the outside stuff going on. Um, which was it's like it's not a big deal to have it, but it gets ridiculous after a while because it's like, oh, you get thrown out, okay, cool, but then like somebody else, or like, oh hey, let me talk, hey, how about you distract the referee, and then like she just distracts him, and then it's like the ref just goes with it. It's like, why? Like, why would you go for like not even just like the stupid ref logic? It makes no sense. He just talked to her. Like they didn't even try to be sly about it. But I digress. I think it was a great first defense for Swerve on a big PLE, and I feel like it was very close to being A tier. Just needed a few. I feel like the match could have been a little bit longer and really felt through a lot of the different stuff, but overall A spot to me. I mean, it was a solid, amazing match. Next up, we got the Anarchy and Arena match. Now, this one's kind of a weird one to think because there's so much stuff going on, but everything memorable from Double or Nothing is from this match. The flamethrower, the hog tie in the middle of the ring, everything you could think of. The bus running over everything. The freaking Reeboks with the the thumbtacks on the bottom of it. Like all of that stuff was this. It's definitely an S tier match because when you see clips, when you think of stuff, it's always going to come back to stuff from that match and that match alone. So I definitely think it's S tier. Was it that most technically sound? No. Did it have a lot of sloppy spots? Yes. Was it kind of just a lot of random three people going off this way and then there was two people fighting? That's all they were focusing on? Yes. But that's kind of what you get with those type of things. And the arena is kind of set to having different spots all over the place. But I'm just a sucker for those. I don't feel like if we were going on a technical scale, they probably would not be up at S tier. But if you just go for overall enjoyment and if would I watch that match again, absolutely. I've watched plenty of clips afterwards, so S tier for sure. But those are my picks, or my tier list. Tell me what you guys enjoyed and didn't enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.